Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Greetings, everyone. You're listening to Zoya Khan from Expert Trainers Academy. If you're new here, let me introduce you about us. Expert Trainers Academy is world-renowned provider of safety training and ISO certifications, and its services are available all around the globe. We are authorized to offer courses for organizations such as OTH in United Kingdom, the European Safety Council, AOSH United Kingdom, Bharat Sevak Samaj, and India's Education Board of Vocational Training. We, Expert Trainers Academy, are committed in delivering the highest standard of health, safety, quality, and environmental training to develop a safer working environment.
Crane, it has come from a bird. It's a large, long-legged and long-necked bird. So that's helped us to build this equipment to lift objects with a certain radius. So this topic is about crane. So what are the causes or hazards involved in crane operation? It might get in touch with overhead power line cables. It might topple over, in other words, overturn due to exceeding the safe working load or safe SWL, they call it, and fall of material and mechanical failures. So how do accidents occur? Instability of the crane. How does the instability come from? Perhaps the load is not secured, the load capacity has been exceeded, or the ground level is not even, or it's too soft. And there might be lack of communication between the operator and the signal man or the banksman, and then lack of training and inadequate maintenance or inspection of the crane. So these are the reasons for the crane accidents could occur. Moving on to the next slide. Who are at risk? The crane operator is at risk, or the person at the crane site. Whoever is in the radius of the crane site, so they might be at risk of the crane accident or from the crane accident. Definitions: crane, it consists of a rotating structure for lifting and lowering horizontally on rubber tires or crawler treads. Hoist, used to lift and lower the load. Boom, an inclined spar or strut or other long member supporting the hoisting tackle. Boom stops, a device used to limit the angle of the boom at its highest position. Brake, to slow or stop the motion by friction or power. The block, sheaves or grooved pulleys in a frame with hook, eye, and strap. Jib, the extension attached to the boom point to provide added boom length for lifting specified loads. These are the different, we talked about the crane first, and we are talking about the different components of the crane. What are the types of crane that we're using? Mobile crane, hydraulic crane, overhead crane, gantry crane, tower crane, predominantly. What are the crane hazards? Improper load rating, operating at excessive speed, no hand signal being used while operating the crane, inadequate inspection and maintenance of the crane, or the maintenance or inspection carried out by incompetent person, unguarded parts, unguarded swing radius, or working too close to the power line, improper exhaust system, shattered windows of the operator, no steps or guardrail walkways, no boom angle indicator, and not using outrigger or not extending the outrigger correctly. So these are the different crane hazards which might arise when we are operating the crane. So plan before lifting or plan before startup of using the crane. Level the crane and ensure support surface is firm and able to support the load. Contact the electrical supply power line owners and determine precautions. Know the location and voltage of overhead power lines. Know the basic crane capacities. What are the limitations of crane and what are the job site restriction, such as the location of power lines, unstable soil, uneven ground, and also using anemometer, you can check the wind speed, high winds. Make other personnel aware of hoisting activities. Barricade areas within the swing radius. So whichever the boom that's going to extend, that's going to swing in that radius, that area has to be barricaded, and the entry to that area must be prevented using caution signage. Barricading is nothing but cordon off or isolating that area. Ensure proper maintenance and inspection. Determine safe areas to store material and place machinery. So you must determine the safe area to store the material and place the machinery whenever you're using crane for lifting operations. Competent person, competent. Immediately, what must pop up in our mind? Kate, knowledge, a person who possesses adequate knowledge, adequate ability, have received enough training, and have enough experience to carry out any work in a professional manner and get the desired output. You can call that person as competent person. Let me say that again. A person who possesses adequate knowledge, adequate ability, and he received adequate training, and he has enough experience to carry out any work in a professional manner and get the desired output. You can call that person as competent person. He must inspect all the machinery and equipment prior to each use and doing the use to make sure it is in safe, operable, or operating condition. If it's need fixing, take it out of service and don't use it until it is fixed. Like from this, on the right hand side, we see there's a broken track. So it must be taken out for the service. Load capacity, speed, warnings. Make sure the crane operator can see the rated load capacities and operating speed and special hazard warning or instruction. Know the weight of the load. Refer to shipping ticket or other documentation. Ensure lift calculations are correct. Ensure load is within load chart rating for boom length and load radius of crane. Crane is rated by the maximum weight. It will lift at a minimum radius and minimum boom length. The further from its center point, the less it will lift. So the crane is rated by the maximum weight it will lift at a minimum radius and a minimum boom length. The further from the center point, the less it will fit. What are the factors we need to consider? Load limiting factors. It must not level, wind, side loads. These are the loading factors that could lead to an hazard, or it could fall off load, etc. So side loads on its wheels, lifting over the side, use of extension, jibs and other attachments too far, and then limits of wire rope, slings and lifting devices. These are the things or factors that need to be considered whenever we're lifting the load. Whether the load is even, the wind condition, and then the side load on its wheels, lifting over the side, and use of extensions, etc. Moving on to the next slide. Mobile cranes lifting principles. C of G, center of gravity must be noted. Leverage, stability, and also structural integrity must be considered. Improper load or speed can result in tipping of the crane or toppling over of the crane. Improper load, again, it has led to topple over of the crane or the collapse of the crane. Contact with the power line cable at least 10 feet. Stay clear from overhead power line cables at least 10 feet. And signal. The operator must follow the and signal of the signalman or the banksman. The guard moving part. The moving part must be guarded. Swing radius. Stay out of the swing radius of the crane. That area must be barricaded generally. Broken window. Make sure broken windows or other obstructions do not prevent the operator from seeing. Make sure the broken windows or other obstructions do not prevent the operator from seeing. Or it must be serviced, or it must be repaired. Suspended loads. Do not stand under the load. No personnel must be standing under the load or in the crane operation areas. Boom angle indicator. A boom angle indicator must be on the crane at all the times. Supporting surface. Crane must be on a firm supporting surface using outriggers. The crane must be on a firm supporting surface and level within 1%, that is 1 inch above the ground. Sheaves. The grooves must be smooth and free from any surface defect, so which can lead to rope damage. If the grooves have any defects, it could lead to rope damage. Rigging equipment, slings. There are different types of slings that is available. Steel chain, wire rope, metal mesh, or natural or synthetic fiber rope and synthetic web. Make sure it is intact and free from any defects. Annual inspection. Inspection of any hoisting machinery must be made by a competent person. The employer must maintain a record of this inspection. The crane was not inspected and it was tipped over. So what to inspect during the crane inspection? The air pressure, there is no leakage. Tire must be properly inflated. It is not wear and tear. It is not smooth as well. Clearance for any tail swing. Wire rope wear and tear. Physical damage to crane. Loose or missing hardware, nuts or bolts, and then fluid leakage. So these are the things that the inspector must carry out. These are the things that the inspector must check during the inspection. So remove from service. If you see any damaged or defective sling, it must be removed from the service. Damaged wire rope, crushed rope must be taken out for the service. Worn part. Again, you are smart. We must not use the worn part. Tire inspection. Conduct regular inspection of tires for excessive wear or damage. Training. Training must be provided to the operator and also signalman. That operator must qualify on a specific crane that he is operating, and he must also provide it with on-the-job training. And he must be supervised, and he must be also a competent person. Summary of this session. An unstable load, lack of communication, lack of training, and inadequate maintenance or inspection are major contributors to crane accidents happening in the workplace. Operators or other working in the area can be victims to struck by and caught in injuries. The crane may be in contact with the power lines. It may cause accident. A competent person must inspect a crane regularly to ensure it is in safe working condition. Planning and training, it will reduce the crane accidents.